There's nothing more beautiful than fresh tuna. And I'm going to make some tuna tataki, which is a Japanese-inspired dish. So first of all, you need a nice piece of tuna like this, but just make sure it's well trimmed because I don't think that fishmonger had a knife as good as mine. So we'll just take that off. And you also want to take the blood spot out. There's nothing wrong with it, and you can eat it. It's just where there's more blood in the tuna's flesh, but you take it out. So now I'm looking to get some really nice, thick, chunky pieces, and I do want to cut with the grain this time so that I cut against the grain the next time. So just slice it through. I think I'll do 3 pieces like that. And now we're going to sear them. So it's really important to get your pan hot first. So we'll get this fired up. Doesn't take long. We want to really make sure this pan is nice and hot. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit of oil, but just for a little bit of that sort of Asian flavouring, I'm putting in a few drops of sesame oil. And that's going to just give that flavour. Now, test with your hand. Don't put your hand right in it. That is feeling really nice and hot now. And this is a really quick process with the tuna. You don't want to cook it through. You only want to sear the outside. Gotta love that sizzle. So literally, you do want to brown it. So it's probably going to be about 15 seconds on each side. So we'll flip this one over first. Could do with browning just a little bit more. So we'll leave it there. And we'll just turn each of them in turn until they're browned all over. Then it's really important to whip them out because you don't want it to cook through. Whip them out back here, and we're going to wrap them up. They're not too hot. The thing to do now is to wrap them up in plastic wrap. And a little tip to make it really easy to slice finely is we're going to throw them in the freezer, probably for about 10 minutes or so. So just wrap up really tightly like that. You can twist the ends and just do that with all 3 pieces. This is a small amount because what we're looking to do is to do an entree, and then we're going to have, as I said, those lovely Japanese flavours. There's the second, and here's the third. You don't want to leave your tuna in the freezer so long that it freezes solid. First of all, it'll affect the flavour, but also it'll make it very hard to slice. So just about 10 minutes is all you need. So I'll pop these in. While those chill down, I've got time to make my dressing. So first of all, some basil leaves, and I want these to be cut really finely, so I'm going to do a chiffonade, which is you roll them up into a little cigar like this. I rather like basil with some of these flavours. You could use other herbs if you wanted to. And now what we want to do, roll it up into a cigar shape and then cut it really finely. Now, with my Lyndey Milan Brilliant Cut Knife, you'll notice a couple of things. First of all, how finely I'm able to chop. And the other thing is that this basil is not discolouring. And that's something that happens with steel knives because they oxidise. Now, speaking of oxidation, that doesn't happen here either. So this knife is never going to rust. So that's another bonus. So we'll pop the basil in here. And then I've got some beautiful pickled pink ginger, which you can also buy in the supermarket or at the fish markets. And I'm going to shred that really finely as well. And you'll see, yes, my knife's really sharp. And the great thing is that unlike a steel knife that really you should be sharpening every week, this one, it depends on how much you use it, but for the average household, they'd only need to sharpen it once a year. Cook a lot like me, maybe a little bit more often, but it will keep that edge, which makes it really, really special. Some soy sauce, and we'll just finish up with a little bit of lemon juice. In here, you could add a little bit of wasabi to this too if you wanted to, but we'll just have a little taste of this dressing and see how it goes. But also the flavours are going to amalgamate because I've made it a little bit early and it's got a chance to sit just while the tuna's in the fridge. So I'll just have a little taste of that. Oh, yum. Can't wait for the tuna. About 5 more minutes, I'd say. Now I'm going to serve the tuna with some soba noodles, which I've just cooked, and a little trick in how to make them look terrific is get your fork in there, twirl it around, and then down on the plate, another little twirl, and it helps you to get a nice little pile. There we go. Now here's our tuna. It's been in there for about 10 minutes. So now what I want to do, it's just a bit firmer than it would be if it was straight out of the pan. So now we're going to slice it. There we go. Isn't that beautiful? Look at that. Beautiful. And you can see that the knife, because it's so sharp, has cut right through it and there's no tearing. It's nothing worse than when you see food that's been torn. And of course my brilliant cut knife will slice through beautifully every time and retain its sharpness. That's what we love, is that it just stays sharp. So this is only an entree, so we might just pop these around here like this. Of course it depends on the size of the tuna that you've got, what this is going to look like, but I rather like that. And then of course we'll just drizzle it with some of our dressing, just around there. Some of it can go on the noodles as well. There we go. Make sure it gets some basil and some ginger in there. And you do want to clean up the edge of the plate. That's what they do in the restaurants. And there it is. What a beautifully simple, lovely, fresh, delicate entree. And once again, my brilliant cut knife has won the day.